Friends, today we have got the coolest little pop-up flip card. Do you see how this fun card works? I have a card here for the girls. I've got another one here for the guys. Beautiful colors, beautiful designs, and friends, they are so easy. Hello, welcome everyone. I'm Connie Stewart with SimplySimpleStamping.com. I'm thrilled you're joining me for today's Tuesday tip video because I have got two really amazing little pop-up flip cards. Friends, you will not believe how easy these are to create. We've got one for the guys. We have one for the girls. So if you're ready, I'm ready. Let's talk about the supplies we need to create today's cards. No need to write anything down today, friends, because I've got a free download that goes along with my video. You will have all my supplies, you will have measurements, you will have photos, and you'll have a QR code that you can scan, or you can click here to come back and watch the video again. And if you are in the United States, my friends, I would love to be your Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. If you see something I use today, you'll see all of the items right there at that link, and you can order what you need. We're going to begin with this card here. So let's talk about the supplies that we need to get started. I'm going to start here with the pecan pie. This is 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. That is our card base. Next, we're going to add a layer of designer series paper. I'm using the Autumn Toile. This is a 4 by 5 1/4. When you put the adhesive on the back of the designer series paper, this is important. Stick to the outside edges. Don't add anything here to the inside. So I'm going to add that to the front of my card base, centering it up top to bottom, side to side. Now we're going to bring in some dies so we can die cut our window here. And I'm going to use the brand new branching out dies. Now you can use any type of label die that you want, but these had such a great look. I'm actually going to use the third from the smallest, and then I'm going to use the second from the smallest. All right. So that's going to be, this will be for our greeting on the front. This is going to create our opening. Now, this would be the reason why I told you don't add adhesive in the middle. We only want it on those outside edges. I'm going to die cut this. We need base plate 1, thin die adapter 2, and a cutting plate 3. Now we're going to add this here to our die cutting machine, and I really want you to make sure you're doing your best to get that perfectly centered all the way around. When you're happy with it, we'll add another top plate 3. We're going to run that through our machine. We are going to have now 2 separate pieces. We're actually going to use this, and we're definitely using this. We're going to set those aside. Now we're going to bring in the smaller die that we chose. This would be the second from the smallest. I've got a piece of Very Vanilla. This is a 2.5 by 4. And we're going to add that top cutting plate. We're going to die cut that as well. Now that we have the opening of our card, I've got a piece of Very Vanilla, 4 by 5 1/4. We're going to add that to the inside of our card. Now to create the really fun pop out. So I have 2 pieces of cardstock. This is the first one we're going to use, and it is a 3" by 2". I have that scored, so I had the 3 inches up at the top. And you're going to score it 3/4, 1.5, and 2 1/4. So this is going to create, when we crease and burnish our score lines, it's going to kind of give us this little box, okay? Now, this piece, this is kind of what's going to give our image the sliding ability. And this is a 2.5 by 2. And with the 2.5 up at the top, we're going to score at 1 inch. All right. All right, we have these 2 pieces. We're going to go ahead and add them to our card. So I'm going to unfold this, and I'm going to put adhesive on both outside ends of the piece that has the 4 score lines. All right, so I'm going to bring this, I'm going to add it here right along that score line. You want to kind of make sure you're centered. You're going to have it centered in your window. When you're happy with it, we'll give it a press. Now I'm going to fold this flat. So there is my other adhesive. We're going to bring the top of our card right over it. There we go. It's that simple. Now, this is the part where we want to add our slider, okay? So just a quick refresher here. When we open up our card, do you see how it kind of slides up? All right, it's so easy to do with this little slider. So to add that, I'm going to kind of bring my card flat here, and we're going to put adhesive on the panel that's closest to the window. We're going to take our little slider piece. See the 1 inch? You want that towards you. This is just going to go right on top. They're the same size. So it goes right there. And do you see how it moves? It's really, really simple. Okay, now to add our sliding image here in the middle. This is the piece that we cut from here. Love to use every little bit. When you put your adhesive, you only want it on this panel. This is our slider. We don't want any adhesive on that. So I'm going to probably get a little heavy with my adhesive. Lay your card very, very flat, and we're going to center up that die cut. Remember, it was cut from this, so we know it's the same size. Time to do some stamping. Both cards today are going to feature the Gathering Moment stamp set. And for this particular card, we're going to use Pecan Pie and Cajun Craze. So let's go ahead and bring in, first thing we're going to do, let's create our front greeting. So in Pecan Pie, I'm going to stamp my greeting all the way over on the right-hand side. Okay, so I'll just kind of center that in there. Now to stamp on the inside of our card, we're going to get a little creative. I'm going to ink my little acorn here in Pecan Pie. Then I'm going to bring in Cajun Craze and a sponge dauber. And I'm just going to get a little ink on there and just tap a couple times there on the acorn, okay? And we're going to add that right there. Isn't that cute? It was so simple to do, but it gives just that really nice little burst of color. Underneath that, back in with Pecan Pie, we will say, thankful for you. Friends, can you believe how fast this card is going together? All right, so I'm going to close this. I'm going to add my greeting here to the front. Now we're going to take this piece that we cut out. This may or may not work. You may have to bring in another piece, but we need a little something right here. I'm going to show you on my first card. I was able to just fussy cut from that label this little piece here. The piece that you get is always going to be different, but it looks like I can get this one right here. And I'm just going to give that a quick little fussy cut. We can just add some adhesive, add that to the front of our card, just a simple little ribbon. I decided to use the gold striped mesh. I thought it looked so pretty with this paper. I'm going to press the center of my bow right there onto a mini glue dot. We want to make sure we're on the front of the card, not on the die cut area. So make sure you're just there on the front of the card, friends. So easy. You can write a simple message here. I love how this card just kind of slides and glides. So, all right, we have a great one for our female friends. Let's create a card for our gentlemen as well. Don't forget to grab your free download that goes along with today's video. You'll find that at simplysimplestamping.com. Just look for the September 23rd, 2025 blog post. In your download, you're going to have all the measurements for the cutting and the scoring. You're going to have photos. You're going to have a complete supply list, everything you need so that you can recreate the cards. The measurements for this card are going to be the same as our first card. We're going to do a couple things different though. So I have a Blackberry Bliss that again, 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. The Designer Series paper is also exactly the same, except we're going to use the other side. So this again is that Autumn Toile, and this is a 5 1/4 by 4 inches. We'll add that to the front. We're going to be using the same 2 dies. So just like we did before, we're going to take the larger die. Remember, that's the third from the smallest. We're going to die cut from the center of our card base. So remember, we didn't put our adhesive in the middle. We are going to use that. Now, this is where we're going to get creative with the designer series paper. It's so pretty and it's easy to stamp on. We're going to take the smaller label die and we're going to die cut that as well. Now, when you die cut that, you actually get a little bonus frame. So you might be able to use that on another project because I think that looks really nice. So for the inside of this card, my 5 1/4 by 4 is in gray granite. Thought it looked really pretty with the Blackberry Bliss. Of course, it matches my designer series paper. This is the 3" by 2" pop-up. And remember, we just put our adhesive here on the outside. Remember, those score lines were 3/4, 1.5, and 2 1/4. We're going to line that up, make sure we're good and centered. Remember, we fold that in half, fold this down. There is our pop-up. Now, we had our little slider piece, and remember, that was a 2.5 by 2". We're going to put our adhesive on that top section. The 1" flap needs to be coming towards you. Adding that right on top. We now have a slider piece. Close up the card. We're going to be able to add the Blackberry Bliss die cut. Just remember to lay that card flat, line up your die cut so that it's perfectly centered so that we get the sliding ability there. We're going to use a Blackberry Bliss ink pad. And just like we did on our first card, we're going to say expressing gratitude, and we're going to stamp that here on the designer series paper to the right side. So in the branching out die set, we have this beautiful little kind of berry image. I just grabbed a little scrap of Blackberry Bliss and I die cut 2 of those. I just added some little dots of multi-purpose glue, and we'll add these to our label. We'll add adhesive to the back, and look at that. It just comes together so fast. Now, for this one, I decided to use the Essentials Baker's Twine. Let's create a little double baker twine bow. So we're going to be using the gray. I'm going to get, I'm going to say that's maybe about 7 inches of twine. And we're going to take the end and we're going to tie it in a knot. Okay, so we're just going to make a great big loop. And we'll put that way down here at the end. We'll be trimming it off, so I'm not too worried. But now we have a completed loop. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make, as my mama taught me, we're going to create 2 bunny ears. And we're going to tie the bunny ears together. Poor bunny. Give it a good tug. Going to take our scissors. We'll snip off our knot. And we can snip the end, line that up. So they're about the same. That's how you make a simple double bow. Just like we did before, we're going to take a mini glue dot. We're going to press the center of our bow there onto the mini glue dot. Remember, we're going to keep it on the front of the card, not on our pop-up label. We got one little bit of stamping to do here on the inside. We'll do that in Blackberry Bliss. And these little berries match the berries on the front. So I want my card kind of floating. All right, I want that floating. And then we'll add these here to those outside edges. That's very simple. If you want to add a sentiment, we can come in and say thankful for you, so that when they get the card, that kind of just reveals itself. There you have it, friends. Such beautiful and simple cards. And my goodness, they really do go together quickly. Now, again, I'm using the branching out dies, but you might have some other label type dies that you want to use. Here's my Tuesday tip of the day. Practice with a piece of copy paper or junk mail. I love to do my fancy fold type cards, and I love to practice them with something that I'm not worried at all about it getting messed up. In fact, if I'm going to be recycling the junk mail, I'd rather practice and do something with it first. So practice with the dies that you have and make sure everything's going to go together before you get into your cardstock. Thank you all so much for joining me for today's video. I hope that you were inspired. Hey, if you were, would you give me a thumbs up on YouTube? I always appreciate that. And if you haven't subscribed, why not just click that subscribe button and YouTube can let you know whenever I'm back with a new video. I share twice a week here on the channel. I'd love to have you be a part. And if you are really into paper crafting and want a little more one-on-one, be sure to check out my YouTube membership. You're going to find the join button right next to the subscribe button. You can read all about it. We have a great time over on the membership, having a lot of stamping and crafting time together. I hope you'll check it out. Well, friends, thank you again for being here, and I look forward to stamping with you next time. Bye-bye.